we have one of our most requested presenters, the one, the only Dr. Allison Caldwell Andrews. Allison, are you out there? There you are, my
I
friend.
am.
How
I'm
are
out
you?
here.
Oh
I'm
man, it
doing.
is so good to see you.
It's so good to see you guys. It's so nice to be with everyone. Feels just like I'm with y'all
Oh,
virtually.
it does, doesn't it?
It's the best.
Well, as I
Great.
understand, you have quite a presentation you've worked up for us. So without further ado, take over, my friend.
Okay, so we are simply together today, and you know who I am. Yeah. All right. And I'm going to get rid of this so I'm not distracted. All right, simple success. You know, simply together, simple success. What's really kind of funny is I just came up with the simple success idea without checking in on the theme. And so it must be something in the universe that is to be said this new year, simple success. So this kind of success, it is simple in the sense that it is not complicated. It's not simple in the sense that it's easy. So you have to do some hard work here. And so just kind of accept that hard work is necessary, but it is a simple idea. You can do this. So this weekend, you're going to be setting goals. You're going to feel like this uplift, this teamwork, this connection, this motivation. You're going to walk out of here and you're going to be like so pumped and fantastic. But I tell you, you won't stay pumped the whole year. And so if you ask anybody who is a leader in Soul, they will promise you, they will tell you that they have had many, many moments where they have not felt motivated, or where they've felt discouraged, or where they've done all of the things that they thought they should do, and still chaos happens. And so here's an example of when you're putting things together and you're trying really hard and you're stretching and you're working and you're doing your, all the right things. And then what happens?
And as you start to prepare to come down, think about coming down maybe with straight legs for a bit more of a challenge, and just thinking about the sides of the body.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. So thank you. I really like the canned laughter. It helps me so much. So sometimes this is what happens, and it's easy to get discouraged and give up. But if you ask these leaders, they've had that happen and they haven't given up. And so part of what we're going to talk about tonight is how to do that and not give up. Another thing that happens is you're going to make some goals this weekend and you're going to be psyched about them, like I said. And then you're going to wake up one day and think that you were completely insane. And you're going to look at your goals and you're going to think, what was I thinking? What am I even doing here? What is going on? It's going to look like this. I have to skip over the ad here. Here we go. Right. So, yeah, what you see is a pelican trying to eat a capybara. And it may feel like your goals are like that. You're going to think, what am I doing again? Why am I a pelican trying to eat a capybara? This makes no sense. I think I was insane when I set that goal. And so then the thing to do is remember vision. You set a vision when you start off on your goals. You set a vision with your team. You set a vision for yourself. And that guiding vision, you have to remember the wonder of that vision. And I just take a moment to experience the feels here, the feels of this kind of vision. You want this sense going on.
Got these for you.
Are they glasses?
Yeah.
You're kidding.
The colorblind ones.
No.
Yeah.
They're so expensive.
Put them on.
You're kidding.
Put them on.
Are you serious? You guys can see this every day? I don't know if you guys understand, but I didn't know.
The grass look green.
Yeah. It's unreal.
Stop making me cry.
But it's color, like nobody understands how. I'll have to relearn my colors with the glasses.
Yeah, what color you actually think?
This is violet or purple. This is blue. I'm gonna say this is rose red or pink, white and violet on the ends.
Oh, nice. Yeah. You like?
I can see colors.
You like?
This is unreal.
I can't wait till you can see like look how red the barn is.
I know, it's so vibrant. I haven't taken them off since.
Now you're not gonna want to stop wearing it.
Okay, so you get a sense of what the possibilities are. And once you see those possibilities, you can't unsee them. And once you see the possibilities, it's kind of like you'd say to the rest of the world, you guys need to see this. How can I hook you up? How can I give you this vision? And then when you're looking at leaders, what you're realizing is they have learned how to see this every day. And it's not easy. But it's simple. It's just a matter of doing the work. There's no complicated secret.
Got these.
So there's two problems essentially. You have the problem of, I don't know what to do. And so that's what's getting in the way of me doing the things. I don't know what to do. I have ignorance. The other problem is I don't feel like doing it. And how many times have you woken up, or have you started on a project, or have you been excited about something and set some crazy goals, like maybe eating a capybara, and then the next day you're saying, what was I even thinking? I don't feel like doing it anymore. I've lost it. I've lost my motivation. and then here's the problem that you don't have. This problem does not exist. The problem of nobody knows how to do this. So that's the really difficult problem, the complicated problem that doesn't even exist. We know how to do this, and that is the really, really awesome news. Not only do we know how to do this, there are people who want to share with you so badly how to do this. It's like crazy. You have a ton of resources. And so what's happening here is you have this law of determinism. In other words, the correct behavior will yield the results you want. So all you need to do is figure out what behavior do you need to do, and then you do the behavior, and then you get the results. Things exist. It's not magic. This is a learned behavior, so you can do it. And what gets in the way is anxiety. And so some form of anxiety prevents you from doing the behaviors that result in success. You think you can't, but it's not that you can't. It's really that you don't. And I'm not saying that you won't, I'm saying that you don't do it. And figuring out why you don't do it is a thing that you could do. In fact, I think you could spend 20 years in therapy figuring out why you don't do things. But what I really prefer to do is just say, all right, let's say there's like 14 reasons you don't do them. Let's figure those out later, because right now what I want you to do is do them. And so let's fix the behavior first. So the success equation is this: you know what you need to do, that's X. You adhere to X. In other words, you do X correctly. So we've talked about this in the past in terms of doing things to a therapeutic level. You know, like if you drink like a packet of Cinemate once every 2 weeks, you know, your adherence to doing Cinemate is not great. You're not doing it at a therapeutic level, and you're not going to get results. You're doing the right thing. Maybe Cinemate is the right thing, but you need to do it enough. And so you have to increase your adherence. If you get what you need to do and you get doing it the right way, then you get the results you want. If you get all the X and the Y, then you get the results. If you don't get the right results, then you want to look at what am I missing in terms of X and what am I missing in terms of Y. It's really that simple. There's no magic. And so I'm going to go back to this question of why it is we have trouble getting to success. We talked about ignorance. And we talked about adherence. You don't do it well enough. In other words, this is like that motivation problem. I don't really feel like doing it. It's hard. I don't want to. I don't do it. And so coming back to the equation, I just want to comfort you guys in terms of recognizing that you can just figure out, with the help usually of somebody else, maybe your mentor, figure out what sort of X do you need to add, what sort of Y do you need to add so that you can get the results that you want. Baking is a great example. You can look at this little map, I don't know, chart of what happens when you add too much of one particular ingredient to cookies. These are the results you get. So that's a baking example. We talked about the health of problem example. If you're only taking Cinnamate once every 2 weeks, you're probably not going to get the results you're looking for. In your prep, you wrote down your current results in the areas of health and business. The health and the business areas really reveal what's going on with you. And so it's very valuable to look at those two areas. The next thing you wrote down was your attribution. You wrote down why you think you're getting these results. So let's talk for a second about attributions. We have internal attributions, we have external attributions. And so on the left, you've got internal, stable, and global. This really means they're attributions about something that's inside you. They're not going to change, and they occur across the board. So you might say the reason why I don't get my results is because nobody likes me. I'm unlikable. And so here we have an internal, stable, global attribution. Nobody, that's global. Stable, nobody likes me. You don't expect that that's going to change. And it's internal, it's me. As opposed to an external, changeable, specific attribution. So you might say the reason that didn't work yesterday was because I was wearing that really crazy red hat, and it keeps vomiting Jello over people, and maybe they didn't like that. And so it was about the hat. It wasn't about me. And if I change the hat, maybe I don't wear a hat, then I can create different results, etc. Okay, so that's a little bit of an idea about attributions. So take a look at your attributions, how you explain your results, and figure out, are you leaning toward this internal, stable, global attribution, or are you more external, changeable, specific? Because people who lean toward internal, stable, and global are more vulnerable to depression. And so what you want to do is identify some external, some changeable, and specific attributions that you can make about your results. See if you can do that. And so tonight we'll talk about information that'll help you see the success as something you can do. So it's not an internal thing, nothing will ever work for me. There are specific, changeable, coming from you things that you can do in terms of tools. So the first information point is really cool. It's the idea that stress and anxiety won't damage you. We grow up in this culture now where we have this idea that stress is all terrible. And that when you say, oh my gosh, I was so stressed out, the first thing people think was, oh, you have to stop that. Stop being stressed out. Or if you notice that you start to feel stress, you think, oh, shoot, this means I need to stop doing what I'm doing because stress is bad and I'm going to end up damaged. But here, the important thing to know is your body is actually made to manage stress well. You're supposed to manage stress. You're literally built to manage stress. There's a study looking at mice that showed that when they have all of the things that they need and there is no difficulty involved in their life, they don't have to go look for food, everything is available, then their colonies absolutely collapse. So stress is necessary. We know that it's necessary for humans to perform well as mice, but all of those things. Stress is important, but the work of solving those problems that is kind of stressful, it actually isn't feeling good. And there's reasons why it doesn't feel good. So it's important to recognize that the reason why work doesn't feel good isn't because you are weak. It is not because of you. It's not because you're supposed to avoid it. So we kind of expect to feel really great when we work. And then if we don't feel great, we think something's wrong. But there's nothing that's wrong. And so what I'm trying to tell you here is that when you start sitting down to work and it just kind of feels stressful and you're doing it the right way. Keep doing it. Don't avoid it. Don't say it's too stressful and leave. Here's what's happening neuropsychologically. And a lot of times I think this helps people to kind of see, oh, I get it. That's why I feel this way. So your brain, when you're solving new problems, you're sitting down to create an outcome or to create some work that you haven't really done before, or that you've only done a few times. Your brain is creating new connections. It's literally reorganizing itself. It's carving out these new pathways. This involves neurotransmitters, acetylcholine and noradrenaline. That's important because noradrenaline feels kind of yucky. It will create a sense of agitation. And so when you have this sense of agitation, or you feel a little stressed out because you're starting to do a little work, you can say, oh, this is what's supposed to happen. It's literally showing me that it's working. My brain is carving out a new pathway thanks to acetylcholine and noradrenaline. And the fact that I feel like this is a little not great means that I'm doing it the right way, not that I'm doing it the wrong way. And so instead of avoiding and stopping, see that as a signal to kind of move on. See that as, oh, this means that I'm focused. My attention is focused and I can feel stressed out, and it's okay. In fact, my body is built for this. So if you think it's just noradrenaline, that's what the ick is. See it as a hopeful indicator. You are doing the thing. So that feeling is fine. There's no stressed out danger from that work of focus and problem solving. What you're doing actually is kind of like building a muscle. You're creating that new pathway in your brain. And so don't avoid creating it. Instead of avoiding, you're really going to approach. And so that's the idea here is you notice the feeling and you say, okay, approach, let's go. And if you have to put like a little trail of M&Ms throughout the room to do it, gosh, do that, right? Do what is going to create that work. Another reason that you might find, another thing that might get in the way for you is you might have this idea, this expectation or this demand that when you sit down to do your work on your Soul Naturals account, that this is going to be fabulous. You know, you'll look around, you're going to hear all the people talking about how fabulous it is. And if it's not fabulous, or if it's not fabulous that particular day, then you might feel like you're doing it wrong and you want to avoid. And so what I would suggest is that you just accept the experience that is, rather than what you're attached to it being, instead of saying, well, I'm really attached to it being a fabulous experience, and so I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to wait till it's fabulous. Ask any of the leaders and they will tell you there are many days where it is not fabulous. Just sit with it, make friends with the experience that it is, and you'll be more productive. You might want other people on your team to speed up where they are. You might be really attached to them going at a different speed. You may be really attached to them being more ready to change than they actually are ready to change. And so if you think, how can I understand them where they are and accept them? And so I'm going to demonstrate to them that I hear them, that this is where they are, and I can love them where they are. That will also help you. And then you want to use rewards. Like I said, you know, your little trail of M&Ms across the floor toward your goal or whatever. Find some way to reward yourself. Rewarding yourself is really an important part of creating behavior change. Really important. Don't skip this step. So many people skip this step because they mistakenly think it's not important, or they think that they're too old for rewards, or it's too silly to put a trail of M&Ms across the floor. I don't know what they're talking about. Humor and rewards can release dopamine. Dopamine can help reduce some of that noradrenaline that makes you feel kind of icky. And so you want to attach the rewards to the path that you're taking. You have to get enough good sleep. This kind of work requires deep sleep because what you're doing is deep focus. So if you aren't getting deep sleep, it compromises your ability to do any deep focusing work. Sleep at night. You can take naps during the day too. Winston Churchill was famous for taking naps. In fact, I think he had a bed brought into his office because taking naps was so important. So you want to do these things. You want to set small milestones, reward little wins, use self-talk. Self-talk in the third person especially seems to be really helpful to help you regulate your emotions. And so if you say things like, Allison, you're doing fine, you're just keep it up, you're doing great. Self-talk in the third person, kind of make it a game. Don't take it so seriously. Make it into a game. So to recap, you're built to handle stress. Don't avoid it. You're especially built to handle the kind of stress that's involved in solving problems, the kind of stress that needs new brain pathways carved out, that involves acetylcholine and noradrenaline. Avoiding this stress will actually result in more stress in the long run. It's only in the very short run that avoiding stress works, because after about 3 minutes, you still feel bad. So instead, embrace that agitation. Don't avoid. Get sleep. Reward yourself. Play the game. So we're going to go back to these two problems, ignorance and motivation. Ask. Here's your tool for ignorance. There are so many people here for you to ask. I don't know any other company that has more people that are happy and willing and dying to answer your questions than this company. Ask somebody. There are all, come up with a list of people you can ask. Ask your mentor to help you create that list. Sometimes you don't want to ask. You feel like you shouldn't have to ask for some insane reason. I don't know. Or you just feel like, I don't want to do that right now. And that's okay. So you can validate that. What you do is you just say, of course I don't want to ask. It makes sense that I wouldn't want to ask because I like to look like I know what I'm doing all of the time. I want to be superhuman. I want to be not realistic and pretend that I always know what to do. And so then you ask anyway. And what you do is when you're validating this, you can do what's called open hands. And what this is, and I want you all to just try it, take your palms and turn them upwards and kind of put them on your knees. And so you're in a posture of openness. Your hands are open on your knees, or you could kind of move them a little bit out to your side and try then saying, okay, I'm choosing to ask. I'm going to choose to ask, even though it's okay for me to not want to ask. I'm still going to choose to ask. Doing open hands has this really weird effect of helping you on the way. All right, here's your tool for motivation. Instead of waiting around to be motivated, like as if that ever works. Anyone who's waited around to get motivated, how reliable is that? So instead of waiting around to get motivated, don't rely on motivation. Motivation, you don't treat it like it's the scarce resource, like you have to have it to do anything, like it's really important. A more useful resource is that of discipline. And so motivation can come and go. You're going to feel really motivated this weekend. You're not going to feel that same level of motivation every single day of this year. And so what you want to do is feed that motivation into creating discipline. So the real problem here is avoiding. And in your prep, you were asked, how do you avoid? And you filled out this quiz. And so you've got some results. You can, calculate those out. Do you tend to avoid in cognitive ways or in behavioral ways? And so I added this cute little mind-body problem cartoon because, it's both. So what are your top 3 avoiding methods? Look at that. Why do people avoid? They avoid because it's safe, but spoiler alert, it's really not safe ever. And it's not easy. It's only easy and safe in the short term, like in the first 3 minutes. And then after that, it starts to not be safe and easy. So avoiding is our brain kind of way of tricking us into a very short-term outcome that doesn't do the thing that the brain is hoping it can do. Your brain, when you're looking at emotion-focused reasoning, it's very short-sighted. When you look at long-term outcomes and you're using your frontal lobes, then you're more geared for the long term. And so you don't want to use emotions to choose to stop working on a particular day, because avoidance is always going to look better to your emotion mind. So look at this, look at it in terms of excuses you're making, how you explain your results. Usually this is how you let yourself off the hook, and start to just be really honest with yourself. Okay, here's the excuse I used. I let myself off the hook. The only really good excuse is I was in a coma. Other than that, you're kind of letting yourself off the hook at some, to some extent. And so get with somebody you trust and who loves you, who can help you identify these. Use the question, how can I? So we're talking a little bit about how you have these emotion areas of the brain that want to plan your future in terms of avoidance and probably lots of chocolate, right? So if you think, I don't want to run my life using my emotion-focused area of the brain, that's correct, you don't. It's really great if you're running from a bear. Otherwise, it's not so helpful. You want to use the frontal lobe, the part of you that makes you uniquely human. And so you want to engage that part, and you can engage that part literally by asking the question, how can I? That question will activate problem-solving areas of the brain. That's what you want. So use that question to help reduce emotion, limbic system activation. Shake up being stagnated. A lot of times you end up stuck for whatever reason, and just kind of let your brain explore different ways of getting unstuck. You can use jumping jacks, go stand on the porch, breathe in the sun, get a list of really easy behaviors you can do to get you unstuck when you feel stuck. Drink a cinnamate. So things like that can help you. Connect with other people. You don't have to do this on your own. And in fact, there is no gold star. In fact, you may have negative gold stars for trying to do it on your own, because it makes no sense. Also, it's no fun, and you're not really as helpful to other people as you are when you can do it with each other. Do it with others. Connect to other people. There are so many ways to connect with people here. Your upline, Jordan has this weekly awesomenimity that he produces. Connect there, create a support system. And so to sum up, identify how you avoid, not why, and then do the behavior of not avoiding. Just do that behavior instead of waiting for magic. Don't worry about damaging yourself with stress. Instead, kind of embrace this idea of, okay, bring it, noradrenaline. I'm ready to carve out a new neural path. Ask for help. Connect with others. This soul family is the most loving, kind, helpful, wonderful place that you could be. Use it. Connect. Be there to love each other. All right. I love you guys. I'm so happy to be with you, and I'm so happy to be able to constantly be nourished by you and be inspired by you. Thanks so much.